Hi again, advocates. I'm Julienne Edwards, your Grassroots Advocacy Manager, and with me is Molly McDonald, our Policy Strategist. We're coming to you from Winning Strategies, Washington today to talk about the impact of action alerts. Now, I started as a volunteer advocate, and Molly started as a Hill staffer. So I'm coming from your perspective, Molly is coming from the other side, so she really knows what happens after you send an action alert. Now, when we put out action alerts, what it essentially does is it prompts you to send an email that we've written for you to your representative. Now, you can personalize that email or you can send it as is if you're just, pressed for time. But the question that I get a lot is, what happens after I send that action alert? And so we're going to talk today a little bit about what that process looks like. So if I am an advocate and I'm, pressed for time and I see an action alert come up and I just click through, I send it to my representatives and it goes to that office, what happens next?
Yeah, so each office has an internal database that they use to manage all of the correspondence that they receive. So when you click through and send an email that we put together as an action alert, it'll be kind of put into a folder with all of the similar emails that the folks are getting. So particularly if you don't personalize and it's all going as the exact same words, it'll be put into a folder. It'll be connected to you, to your sort of file that you're building with the office. And at the end of each week or each month, typically the staffer that manages that database will put together a report and say, this week we got X number of letters regarding colorectal cancer research funding. Mm-hmm. And these are the folks that we're hearing from, and this is sort of how all the different issues stack up this week.
Okay, great. So that number it's a tally, and it gets told to the member, and the member goes, okay, I see this is of this much importance to my constituents. But also it contributes to a file that you're building, that office has on your interactions with the office. So it is cultivating a relationship. It still contributes to that.
Yeah, so the members can see that swell in that day or week, but also over the course of time because it accrues. So they can say, this week we received 50 emails about this issue, but over, the past year or 2 years or however long I've been in office, we've received thousands.
Right.
And again, as you said, it's kind of tallying you with that office as well. And you can look at your own profile and say, okay, this person has reached out 5 times on this issue. It's obviously something that's incredibly important to them.
Right. Okay, so let's say I've got a little more time and I'm able to just put in a couple of lines about, how this issue has affected me personally. How does that change things on the back end?
Yeah, I think anytime you can personalize, it's really, really helpful and effective because instead of just being put in the folder with all of the emails that look exactly the same, you'll be in kind of a separate pile that has to be gone through individually. And so yours is going to kind of raise to the top of the stack in terms of how folks go through it. And additionally, if you have an opportunity to ask a question in your personalization, that even further kind of amplifies it because then it'll be moved up the chain to someone like a legislative assistant or someone more senior who can answer that question and respond.
Oh, great. Okay, so if you have time to personalize, asking a question will actually start a dialogue with somebody who maybe is a little more specialized, like a health legislative aide.
Yeah, it's one way to sort of begin to build that relationship.
Okay, great. So when you do these action alerts, your story really can be heard if you choose to share. And even if you don't have time necessarily, you can still reach out and start building a relationship with that office and show them, especially over time, how important this issue is to you and to our community overall. So that's the impact of an action alert. Stay tuned. Next, we're going to cover how a phone call is impactful.